Okay, and here is a look at the chassis. As you can see, there's quite a mixture of components there. He pretty much built the set using leftover radio parts from the 1940s. The whole thing is constructed on 2 radio chassis. There's one there, and the other one there, and the two are just bolted together down through the middle. Alan was not one to waste anything or throw anything out, so he would have used all his leftover parts, and he would have manufactured, retrofitted, whatever, to basically make it work. In regards to the circuit for this thing, there is nothing. I have no circuit at all for it. I have no idea what he based the circuit on, but construction wise, I'd say the way you've got the supports holding the tube and everything, and the general layout, it's definitely obviously of an American influence, I think. And seeing some of the American sets from the 40s and 50s, basically this is like pretty much like a clone, I would say. The only European counterparts used in this set is the picture tube, which is a Mallard Phillips Mini Watt A59-90. So you can see that's made in Holland. The deflection yoke, which is a Phillips AT1009-0/08. The tuner is also Phillips as well. That's an AT7635. And the line output transformer, which lives in here. I'll just get that off. And there's your line output transformer on there. A lot of my Philips black and white TVs in my collection all have the same tuner, flyback transformer, yoke, and a picture tube of sort of similar caliber. So yeah, it's a real credit to the guy, actually. I have no idea how many of these were built. I don't know how many he made. One of our long phone conversations he may have told me, but honestly I just can't remember. It was just so long ago, I can't remember now. So, but looking at the serial number down here, the model isn't 35, it's actually model 1510. So 35 could actually indicate that's the number 35 off the production line. So could very well be. So I wouldn't know. Honestly, wouldn't know how many he actually made. Got a little couple of notes up here, which when I got the set was sort of tucked up on me. So he got it back in 1987. Is when he got it, and yeah, there was a sync problem with this as well. So when I first got a raster on it, and yeah, quite interesting, quite interesting indeed. I actually asked him for a circuit for one of the radios that I owned of his, and he proceeded to jot it down on a piece of paper, and then got completely sidetracked, and we didn't actually get to finishing the circuit. So, and I've no idea where that piece of paper is now. It was about 10-15 years ago. Yeah, and again, when it came to the valve lineup, used a lot of octal tubes, a lot of RCA metal tubes in there. There's a mixture of Kenrads and RCAs. These are all tubes in the front end, and obviously, yeah, you've got good RF interference and suppression there, so no noise will get into the front end and cause problems. And for the sound, I think the sound is over here, I think. I'll show you the valve layout in a second, and you'll sort of describe sort of the layout of each tube. we've got one lock door used in a lot of Philco sets, New Zealand made sets. The audio output, which is a 7C5. I got a box of 100 of these from his house. So yeah, I'll definitely be okay for 7C5s for a while. How I came to acquire the set, like I said, it was from his house, is after he died, his daughter started cleaning the place out, and a few of us radio guys found out about it, and one of my radio friends who went to the house before me informed me that the set was inside. I knew he'd built TVs, and I said to my friend, "Hey, look, I'd be really keen on getting on buying that set off her." So I went and saw her and brought the set along with a few other bits and pieces as well. So I was really glad to get this TV, because I can guarantee this would be the only one of these probably left in existence. So yeah, I've got probably a very rare TV here, and sort of like a, you know, from a collectible point of view, extremely unique in its own right. One of the guys in the radio club remembers seeing one of these in a customer's house back in the 1970s, and yeah, that was the only one he's seen, and he's been servicing TVs for, well, probably longer than I've been alive. So that's an indication that obviously weren't many of these around. I think Alan made these sets to order. The area he lived in was quite a wealthy area, a lot of doctors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, all that sort of thing. You know, that's this sort of area of sort of clientele who we dealt with most of the time. And I remember him telling me most of his clientele wanted decent sound, because they said to him, any other thing we buy, the sound's rubbish, but your products always have great sound. So of course Alan, being Alan, would have gone out of his way to make sure that the audio quality on his sets was really good, and his radios as well. Yeah, what else? Oh yes, okay, we've got, I said, there's a whole, I said 1960s technology here, or late 50s. EL36 for a line output valve, boost die is an EY88, and the EHT rectifier valve is a DY87, and not too sure what valves are in there. Might be ECC 189 and maybe an ECF 86, I think, from memory, not too sure. I think it shows it on the valve layout diagram. And yeah, vertical output, good old Coke bottle 6L6. When I first took the back off the set, I thought, oh yeah, that must be the audio valve, because 6L6, 6V6 is what you see in most audio stages, but he's using it as a frame output application, which, yeah, I suppose, you know, works fine, and it works fine for that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the quick layout of the controls down here. You've got your tone control, you've got the remote, and that may have been for a remote volume or brightness, I don't really know. Speaker socket there, AGC control, get your vertical hold. Come around here, you've got your width control, height and vertical linearity. Quite a meaty mains transformer. Actually runs lukewarm when the set's running. It doesn't get hot or anything, so he would have probably made these himself as well, more than likely. He had cool winders, he had all the gear in his house to do all the sort of stuff. So yeah, he was definitely very self-sufficient in that respect. So what I'll do, I will now put the set on its front and show you the underside of the chassis. Okay, back in a tick.